Summer vacation. The best time of the year. Except for when you're an adult and working during the summer so you can have enough money to make videos about blue rats and a talking block of cheese. Now I'm starting to think that this is getting too personal. I already talked about SpongeBob's house party and the Anthology specials of Legends of Bikini Bottom and Tidal Zone. That's SpongeBob's Runaway Roadtrip and versus the big one. And it's obvious which one of these summer themed specials that I'm talking about today, not you. Today I'm gonna talk about Runaway Roadtrip to see if it's mid as Legends or just as fun as Tidal Zone. Before I talk about the anthology, first I have to explain the plot of this anthology. In all of these episodes, SpongeBob and friends go on vacation. It said the first Squidward, and that's literally it. All the episodes start with one of the characters presenting a slideshow of their vacation. Then the episode really begins when SpongeBob shows up for the ride because he's the show's namesake and the special's namesake. Other than that, these episodes are just normal episodes with one scene that ties them all together, and those opening scenes don't really connect to each other. So what was the point? Nickelodeon, you son of a bitch. At least here the episodes are canon, not bedtime stories being told to us by Patchy, and that none of these episodes go off theme like French Billies. What? In the episode Walking to Plankton, Plankton stalks Krabs while he's on vacation with SpongeBob because he took the Krab Patty formula with him. That is literally the only reason why he's stalking him. Then I mentioned that this episode was made around the show's Dark Age. Karen joins Plankton on the vacation thinking that he's taking her on a cruise to relax and have a second honeymoon. And it goes how you expect it to for a Plankton episode from this era. Plankton spends most of the episode trying to get the formula, and Karen eventually finds out and she destroys the ship while on vacation mode. Also, Krabs and SpongeBob started selling Krabby Patties because the food on the cruise was crap. I like that this is the only episode that doesn't try to have SpongeBob involved in the plot in some way. Because in a different episode in the anthology, Mr.Krabs takes a vacation. SpongeBob is just shoehorned in babysitting Mr.Krabs. So I didn't mind Krabs not doing much either. At least here he's not being an ass and he's even enjoying himself hanging out with SpongeBob. I like Karen in this episode and I felt bad for her because Plankton kept stalking Krabs and not spending time with her, and I understand why Plankton does this. Yeah, he is technically in the wrong here, but seeing him trying to steal the formula in this episode is honestly really entertaining because he's in a new setting and the ways that he fails here are really hilarious. This isn't really a great episode in the anthology, but it is a decent Plankton episode.
I'm so sweaty.
Patrick's Staycation. It shouldn't exist. This episode is bad, and yet Patrick is the worst part of this episode. Pretty much what happens in this episode is that SpongeBob helps Patrick have a staycation, and that's the episode. Most of the episode is just Patrick being a dick to SpongeBob, treating him how a rich idiot would treat their butlers. The only reason why SpongeBob is helping him because Patrick is broke and can't afford to go anywhere, which makes sense because he's literally been doing nothing longer than anyone else in the universe. Now when SpongeBob almost burned his food, Patrick went to Squidward's house and acted like a dick to him too. In the end, as insult to injury, Patrick takes SpongeBob's room in SpongeBob's house while SpongeBob was massaging Squidward, and he sleeps there thinking that it's a hotel. The only good part of this episode is Krabs letting SpongeBob sleep with him like this crap has happened before. I wouldn't be surprised though, because this was Dark Ages Patrick's for peak's sake. He pulled the main drain and made SpongeBob into a bike rack. Instead of giving Squidward an episode instead of Patrick.
You dim-witted moron! Get out of my kitchen! I think I'll head over to the spa. Get this into your tiny... Oh!
Mooncation, unlike Goons on the Moon, is an episode that makes sense. In this episode, SpongeBob and Sandy go on a moon trip, and after some crazy fun shit happens, since SpongeBob accidentally crashing into the fuel tank of the rocket, this causes SpongeBob and Sandy to go back home while almost dying in the rocket. Sandy ends up having fun with SpongeBob because she's an adrenaline junkie, and they go and plan another trip to the moon as the episode ends. Yeah, this episode is way too extreme for this anthology. This is my favorite episode in the anthology because of Sandy. Personality is just perfect here. She's not too bossy, she's not too hardcore, she's just in the middle, and that's fine. Yeah, sure, at first she wasn't comfortable with SpongeBob coming with her because he is a little clumsy and not that smart, but at least in this episode he means well and just wants to spend time with his friend. He didn't know you couldn't bring a cake to the moon, and he didn't mean to crash into the fuel tank of the rocket. It's all unintentional, unlike that time he destroyed all of Angry Jack's shells. He made a mistake trying to impress Sandy in the heat of the moment, and at that moment they could have made Sandy an asshole, but they didn't. They made her into a fun character that likes SpongeBob despite his flaws. And if you want to watch a good episode starring these two, other than Tea at the Tree Dome, this would be a good watch. I don't think that the voice actor for the owl did a bad job. I just think the English names in the English dub and
Hey! Who's...
Mr.Krabs takes a vacation. And yet Squidward doesn't. In the episode Mr. Krabs Takes a Vacation, I'm getting tired of these episode titles just summing up the episode when the episode itself just either sucks or kinda sucks. This episode kinda sucks. SpongeBob is just there because the writers think that Pearl would not enjoy any quality time for father. Yeah, sure, she wouldn't have fun at first, but at the end of the day, she is the literal definition of a daddy's girl. Krabs takes SpongeBob and Pearl to a tour of the Bikini Bottom Mint, and that's it. Pearl is hanging out the rubble of the Teenage Boy Museum because that's what the writers think teenage girls do. Krabs is on Sensory Overworld after seeing all that money, and it just gets old after a while because that's how he always acts when he's around money. Then the man almost gets robbed and Krabs, because he loves money, Marvin, his daughter, girlfriend, Spongy Boy, and Mr. Squidward stops him, and him and SpongeBob are given their own limited time bill, which Pearl takes from them to pay a friend, causing Krabs to cry, ending the episode. This episode isn't that bad, it's kinda boring and forgettable, except for Bill. The fact that there's a character that works at a mint and is named Bill, it's just comedy gold. And it was just wasted on this mid-episode. Krabs is just the worst part of this episode, and you could really replace SpongeBob any other character because he doesn't do much here. Plus the ending is one of the worst SpongeBob episode endings I've ever seen in my life.
Get a hold of yourself, it's just paper.
Just paper!
Now we're finally on the only 22-minute episode in the anthology, the vacation of the show's namesake, Cheesehead Brown Pants. In this episode, SpongeBob tricks his friends into watching a slideshow of his family vacation with Patrick because Squidward probably said no. In the slides, SpongeBob, his parents, and Patrick are on their way to the Great Barrier Reef. Then, because of Patrick being a chaotic shit, causes the boat to break down. Then they go to the service station and wait for the boat to get fixed. Then SpongeBob and Patrick go to a gross-looking playground to pass the time, and because of Patrick, they somehow get lost in a kelp forest. And after some shenanigans, they find a giant water-breathing fruit fly, and it flies them back to Mr. and Mrs. SquarePants, ending the episode. This episode, despite being slow at first, is actually enjoyable to watch. I don't care that Patrick's here. He's actually tolerable in this episode, unlike all of his other appearances in the anthology. SpongeBob's parents are barely in the episode despite this being their family vacation. Other than that, this episode is an adventure worthy of watching.
Wait, you're gonna miss the first slide.
The anthology as a whole was decent, but it could have been better. At least here episodes as Vacation and Patrick's Staycation were just unnecessary. Krabs already went on vacation in the Anthology. I guess the reason why they gave those 2 vacation episodes was because Nickelodeon probably told them that a road trip episode with Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy would suck, which is false, because if it did suck, it would be Patrick's Staycation. It could have done a Squidward, Mrs. Puff, Larry the Lobster, or hell, even a fucking William episode, because it would have been so much better than what we got with Patrick and Krabs. The highlights of the Anthology were Mooncation and SquarePants Vacation, but I feel that SquarePants Vacation was too long and it should have been trimmed down to 11 minutes like the rest of the episodes. The song that was used to promote this episode, the Road Song, is honestly one of the catchiest SpongeBob songs I've ever heard. It's not the best SpongeBob song, but it's definitely one I like to bop to. The DVD release is okay. It's definitely better than the Legends Bikini Bottom DVD, but I just feel like there's some stuff missing here. Yeah, sure, there's 2 bonus episodes and the order episodes are messed up in classic Legends Bikini Bottom fashion, but Legends of Bikini Bottom had shorts behind the scenes with the voice actors. They easily could have included the Ancient Ruins short to go along with the episodes, so this collection would feel whole. But they didn't, because this is a SpongeBob DVD from the 2010s. Other than that, I love this release. If for some reason you live like it's 2000s and you want to watch SpongeBob like you're on a road trip, like you're a little boy with a portable DVD player, I would recommend it alongside Alvin and Chipmunks 3 and the Megamind. So is this better than Legends? Yes, actually it's miles better. But is it better than Title Zone? No, it is not. The Patrick and Mr.Krabs episode dragged it down for me. Plus, it doesn't have Grand Pat and Plankton getting the formula. So Title Zone is a little bit better and Legends of Bikini Bottom is the worst. I'll see y'all next video. Goodbye.